Yes, 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 yes. How's everyone doing? How's everyone doing? Hope you guys are having a nice Sunday. Welcome to the stream, the bi-weekly stream at this point. So I'm welcoming you to the stream. I hope everyone had a nice holidays, man. The holidays are just starting. I want to say Merry Christmas to all the Masihi Somalis out there. And those who just want to celebrate a good time. I think I'm okay celebrating all of the festivities of all the religions. I'm good with that. As long as we're celebrating and we're eating good food, chilling with people we love, I think that's what it's all about, man, while we're here. You know what I'm saying? So, welcome to the stream, guys. Welcome to the stream. Um, what have I entitled this one? I've entitled this one, and I had a question, basically, and the whole point of the stream is going to be around that question. The question I had was, do we let um, a philosophy define us? Do we let a specific ideology define us? Or did we actually have good things going for us before, right? Tired of people denigrating our ancestors to the point where they are going to say that we were taught how to live. We were taught the good manners. We were taught as if, because these are conversations I'm having. Oftentimes, I'm having conversations with, my fellow Somali Muslims, and then one thing that keeps coming back is, and I don't have to say much for them to call me impolite, to call me this and that and the other, right? Sammy, thank you, man. Welcome, 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 bro. Thank you so much. Thank you. Um, I wanted to basically go against the idea that a Somali person needs an Arab culture in order to have respect or to have honor or to have any kind of sense of humanity. Because this is actually what I'm often confronted with. I'm confronted with this. I'm confronted with, oh yeah, you don't have any akhlaq, you don't have any, and I don't have to say much for those things to be thrown at me. And the irony is not lost on me that these people throwing this shade at me are not displaying any kind of respect or any kind of politeness or any kind of good manners for that matter, right? So it dawned on me, and I think I wanted to actually directly pose the question to my Somali people. Warmad umaleynaysid intaan dhaqan wanaagsan lahayn Islaamka hortii. Ha, Misame, did we or did we not have a good dhaqan or good culture prior to the advent of this religion? That is my question today, right? Although so the weather giving you the dimension so the weather. So let's see. I want to talk about this, and I wanna make you guys listen to a little downto song that is actually asking the question or maybe answering it as well. So I'm gonna share this downto. It's actually a nice little beat too, man. So I like it. I like it. So it's called maxaa ku idhahdaye waxaa la idhahdaa waa dhaanto cusub waxaa la idhahdaa dhaqan ma u lahayn dhaqan ma u lahayn. That's the song's name or the danto's name. So let's see if we can actually listen together, enjoy it, and if you guys can read Somali, I believe it's written as well. So yar dhegeysta yar akhrista.
abadhabaaro oo dhibta ka hortago dhexdhexaadiya dhaqan ma u lahayn sida dhabta dhaqan wa u lahayn hooyo dhiiran oo dhasho koriso dhaqaalaynta qandhaqan ma u lahayn sida dhabta dhaqan wa u lahayn abadhabaaro oo dhibta ka hortago dhexdhexaadiya dhaqan ma u lahayn sida dhabta dhaqan wa u lahayn hooyo dhiiran oo dhasho koriso dhaqaalaynta qandhaqan ma u lahayn sida dhabta dhaqan wa u lahayn erla dhaafino dhagalaylaho isku dheelitiran dhaqan ma u lahayn sida dhabta dhaqan wa u lahayn aqal dhigaalaho dhidib loo tumiyo dhari iyo dhandhar dhaqan ma u lahayn sida dhabta dhaqan wa u lahayn erla dhaafino dhagalaylaho isku dheelitiran dhaqan ma u lahayn sida dhabta dhaqan wa u lahayn aqal dhigaalaho dhidib loo tumiyo dhari iyo dhandhar dhaqan ma u lahayn sida dhabta dhaqan wa u lahayn
Waa gobolada kooxda Range Pussy.
eedhuuro oo dhaqsa loo qariyo firinkii dhexyeera dhaqan ma u lahayn sida dhabta dhaqan wa u lahayn kodha dhidiida oo dheda lagu lulo laga dhaliyo subag dhaqan ma u lahayn sida dhabta dhaqan wa u lahayn eedhuuro oo dhaqsa loo qariyo firinkii dhexyeera dhaqan ma u lahayn sida dhabta dhaqan wa u lahayn kodha dhidiida oo dheda lagu lulo laga dhaliyo subag dhaqan ma u lahayn sida dhabta dhaqan wa u lahayn abadhagaala iyo qolxadda maaca oo aan dhulkaba la dhiigin dhaqan ma u lahayn sida dhabta dhaqan wa u lahayn gabdha dhiiran oo dhexda giijiyo laga bixiyo dhaban dhaqan ma u lahayn sida dhabta dhaqan wa u lahayn abadhagaala iyo qolxadda maaca oo aan dhulkaba la dhiigin dhaqan ma u lahayn sida dhabta dhaqan wa u lahayn gabdha dhiiran oo dhexda giijiyo laga bixiyo dhaban dhaqan ma u lahayn sida dhabta dhaqan wa u lahayn dhaqan soo jiro lagu dhaanta iyo dhaantiyo wilwiila dhaxal ma u lahayn sida dhabta dhaxal wa u lahayn dhaqan soo jiro lagu dhaanta iyo dhaantiyo wilwiila dhaqan ma u lahayn sida dhabta dhaxal wa u lahayn dhaqan soo jiro lagu dhaanta iyo dhaantiyo wilwiila dhaxal ma u lahayn sida dhabta dhaxal wa u lahayn dhaqan soo jiro lagu dhaanta iyo dhaantiyo wilwiila dhaqan ma u lahayn sida dhabta dhaxal wa u lahayn sida dhabta dhaxal wa u lahayn sida dhabta
So there you go, there you go. That song actually inspired this question I had. Basically, dhaqan soo jiray ayaan iska leenahay. Although I'm not sure what you mean by that. She said the more I hear about how things were back then, the more it's clear we did it, but it was better. Yeah, I'd like to hear more about what you mean by that. I'm not sure if it wasn't good, then how was it better, right? Or maybe there's a different perspective that you want to share. So yeah, So my question essentially was, are were we able to actually have were we decent people? Did we, just fornicate in the streets, or did we actually have honor, and did we have politeness, and did we have any type of respect for our elders, for ourselves, for our dignity, or did we need a foreign thing? So this is the actual question. Maybe it's an existential question, but do we need an exterior factor to make us better human beings? So all of those thousands of years of life that Somalis had had before the advent of Islam, were they just marafat baa lagu jiray oo intaas oo dhan, oo dad halaysan ma nahay? That's the question. Like, were we in such a disarray? By the way, guys, let me know if the sound is good. I'm not sure if you guys can just put it in the chats. If I'm coming through okay. Um, yeah. I don't want to keep going if I'm not if the sound isn't good. But anyways, let me know if you can. So the question I was asking, the existential question I was asking is, did we need, as Somalis, did we need an outside exterior factor to come and you know show us the way, so to speak? Did we need that? Did Somalis need that? All right. And I mean, I'm not going to talk about anything else. I'm talking about Somalis specifically. We were called a nation of poets. We were in the Horn of Africa. We inhabited that land, arguably thousands of years, right? But all of those thousands of years, all those millennia that we existed in the Horn of Africa, were we just raping and pillaging and having zero respect and not having, you know what I mean? Or did we actually have a sense of humanity? Did we have a sense of how to be, how to live, how to have kids, how to raise kids, how to raise families, how to, you know what I mean? Like, this is the question that I'm actually asking, right? Sam, you said, I think we did. I think you think we did what exactly? If you can let me know. By the way, if you guys are up for it, come and join me in the chats. Come and join me on the stream. We can discuss if you will. So yeah. So did we just aimlessly wander around? Did we aimlessly just um, exist? And we needed and so I think one of the things that I am unable to kind of I'm unable to sign on to is the fact that my forefathers and foremothers were just savages. They were just people that didn't know what the hell they were doing. I refuse to accept that. I don't know about you, but I refuse that. I refuse to accept that my forefathers and my ancestors were completely aimless and they were all, lost. I refuse to believe that. I think we are from a specific um from a specific geographical position in the world that is very, very ancient, right? It's a very ancient um civilization. We are people of the Horn of Africa. I just want to know, what is it that we had, what is it that we were lacking, that we needed an exterior force to come and establish itself and make us see the right way, so to speak. So yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, thanks, Sammy. Thank you. Now I understand what you meant, right? So that's the thing that I want to basically broach on and kind of discuss, and just kind of throw the question at you guys. Please put in the chats if what you guys think. Do you guys think that Somalis actually needed an exterior factor? I mean, look, I'm open to learning from the world and the rest of the other civilizations, and to take on what's good, right? To take on the good things from these different varying civilizations around the world. I'm all good with that. Hey man, I'm all for it. That's how you learn. It's cross pollinate. Get the best things out of different, cultures or civilizations influence each other and all of that good stuff, right? But it's the notion that I cannot sit with the notion that says that my ancestors were lost prior to an Arabic ideology coming to save them. And I think the question I keep repeating, and the reason why I keep repeating it is because I feel like it's so deep into our psyche. This is so deeply embedded in our psyche. You have to basically reject, right? You have to basically reject what you were, who you are, where you're from, in order to make space, right, for this other Dhaqan to install itself, for this other culture to install itself. You understand what I'm saying? We don't understand how much we have had to do that, and this is not all cultures. I mean, we all make space in our own, day to day to accommodate different cultures and so on and so forth. But what I'm saying is, when this culture instills itself by force almost, because it tells you if you don't accept it, you're going to hell and you're going to be banished into hellfire for eternity, right? This is this is psychological blackmail essentially, right? You've got to renounce who you are. You have to go ahead and renounce your Somali Nimo in order for you to be good with the Most High. That doesn't make sense, right? The Most High made me this way. Let's say I'm speaking from a deist perspective. Okay, so there's a God. The God created me. The God created me with a specific language, a specific geographical situation, a specific skin color, a specific this and specific that, right? Your own culture, your own everything. Now, then God decides to go see a different culture to convey a message to me. To me. So, I mean, if He created me in a specific way, a specific language, a specific geographical situation, why would I need another culture to come and tell me that my culture is bad and that their culture is the better one that God accepts? If nothing else, let's forget about theology. Let's forget about Quran and Hadith. Let's forget about any of that stuff. Okay, let's forget about any of that stuff. If you being led to believe that your origins is something God is displeased with, like I just want you to understand how deeply in the psyche this goes. This is basically you being forced to reject who God made you to accept God. It doesn't compute. It does not compute and it doesn't add up. So this is actually one of my sticking points. I'm not one that goes too deeply into conversations about religion or um I care more about the culture because I know waxaan taaganahay in erigan lagu yiraahdo deen. When people say deen, it's just an Arabic word for Dhaqan. Deen is just an Arabic word for Dhaqan. Okay, I want you guys to really get what I'm saying here. All right, Deen, the definition of Deen, right, essentially, right, is it's obviously an Arabic a word. Okay, Deen is an Arabic word with three general senses. It says, right. I'm reading this off of yeah, I'm just reading this off the dictionary. Deen is an Arabic word with three general senses: judgment, custom, and religion. You know what I'm saying? Deen is an Arabic word with three general senses: judgment, custom, and religion. Right? It is used by both Muslims and Arab Christians. Now, I want you to really zoom in on this. It is used both by both Muslim and Arab Christians. So, I mean, it doesn't even they don't even care about the belief system, or Aqidah, or anything like that. This is Arabness. This is this is Arabic, that's getting instilled in you. That's what deen is. You understand what I'm saying? That's what deen is. Deen just means dagan in Arabic. So why would and so that's why I'm always baffled when my Somali people are going to tell me, "Hey man, you gotta, kalasar, I'm kalasar in dagan, dinti dagan." I'm like, how? It's like kind of saying, "Hey, I want you to separate culture and culture." Like, it doesn't make sense. It does not make any kind of sense. So Anugu, one of my sticking points, the thing that I always kind of come back to, though, the thing that I always try to get my people to see and to actually perceive is that this has nothing to do with any type of spirituality. This has everything to do with which culture is going to prevail. That's it. Which culture is going to prevail? And this has been going on for so long, that we have, as Somalis, replaced our Dhaqan, which is a Somali word, with a deen, which is Dhaqan in Arabic. So we have been Arabized, essentially, is what I'm trying to get at. And the way that was done is by telling us that, Ayidi Awudi Warasama, Nigahore, Islam Kintanu Min Hortit, the Jahiliyyah. They're from the Jahiliyyah. They're from the age of ignorance. Now, listen to the supremacy in that sentence. Ah, they were from the age of ignorance. So the age of enlightenment, then, right, is going to be coming to us from Arabia. That's essentially what it's saying. That's essentially what's being said here. If we, man, do away with all the spirituality, theology, forget all of that. Put all that aside. You're being told as a Somali person, right, that your Somali Nimo needs to take a back seat. It needs to go in the back seat. You have to forget it in the age of Jahiliyyah, in the age of ignorance. That's where your Somali Nimo belongs. You want to be good, you want to be perceived as someone that's Horam Rizgari, forget your culture. Your culture is not going to get you there. Take on this culture because this is the culture that God wants. You understand? So essentially, hey, what's up? The ones to divert. How you doing, man? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Um, so forget about your old culture, take on this new culture, and this is how you're going to show the world. This is how you're going to show the world that you are worth anything. So when a person is made to, is led to believe that their ancestors or their origins is unholy or unwanted or ignorant, and they'll take on this other culture. But the thing is, I think we always do that organically, right? People always often do that organically. We always take on different things that we might like or might not like or anything like that, right? And like, yeah, the last scroll is saying culture is dynamic and not static. So it's bound to get influence. Absolutely. And that's exactly what I was just saying. It's bound to get influence because it's a dynamic thing. It moves in and out. But here's the thing. I don't like right now. I'm speaking English. This is afke giho yamaha. Right now. I'm speaking English, right? I'm speaking English right now. If I don't speak it, head laiguma odhanayo cadaabad galaysaa ilaahay baa ku nacaya laguma do you understand what I'm saying? I don't have all of these psychological uh, blocks that are preventing that are forcing me to speak English right now. I'm choosing to speak English. It's a choice for several reasons. Some of them for several reasons. This is a choice I'm making, but there isn't a psychological chain that's attaching me and that's forcing me to speak English right now. Soomaaliga waan iska hadli karaya cidna igama horjoogsan karayso waa runta. Laakiinse here's the difference. When you give me a child that's 2 years old and you tell this child that they have to adopt this other culture in order for the Almighty be okay with them. You got to understand how deeply rooted that psychological warfare is, because it is psychological warfare. You're telling this kid to no longer look at his origin or her origin as a source of power. And you're shifting that and you're putting it into another place. You're telling them, no, no, your power comes from this other thing because your origins were ignorant. وَالجاهلية والإلحاد. You understand? I hope I'm making sense because I want you to guys to really zero in on the fact that it's not the changing or the adoption of other cultures that I'm against, really. I'm against the manner in which that culture is introduced and forced upon our throats, forced upon us. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, because it's psychological that after a while people become the best advocates for that same thing that told them that their origins were ignorant. You see what I'm saying? This is what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about essentially um, uh, adopting different cultures or different. It's all good. We can always do that, right? Hey, Mark Smith is a hello. Have you discussed the Somali village exhibitions in Bradford, Dublin, New York? New York? Yeah, the human zoos, despicable. I mean, yeah, it happened. I'm not gonna say it didn't. It happened. No, but we know we never really gone into deep conversations or research about that. To be honest with you, but thank you for bringing it up. Do you understand what I'm saying? So this is to me is when someone is told that what they're from is not worthy. It's not worth it, and so to take on this other thing to make um and I know this because I remember as a kid, right? I would watch, whatever movies, any movie, whatever, anything that I kind of come across. And if I see a Muslim name, quote unquote Muslim name, which is essentially an Arabic name, but an Arabic name, an Arabic, like I would look at, the conquest of Jerusalem, the Crusades and all that, and I would feel a part of this other gang because I'm Muslim, because and all that, right? And I thought I used to think that's beautiful that people from across the globe could kind of come together and kind of just see this thing as their thing, but it wasn't really our thing, was it? Somalis had nothing to do with it. My ancestors were still with just chilling with their camels. Those Badr was not their war. Hudaybiyah wasn't their thing. Like Ben Qurayza wasn't their conflict. They were just minding their own business in the Horn of Africa. And to have their child, generations later, believing that what happened in Ben Qurayza concerns him so deeply that they're willing to do some things, right? That means that you have created yourself now another soldier that's outside of your own army. Because that Somali person that is now looking at these battles as their own have embodied another culture. They've become someone else. And so they are now just, I hate to use the word, but like they become like, almost battery operated zombies, for lack of a better term. You understand what I'm saying? So that's essentially what I'm getting at. I'm trying to get at the fact that as Somalis, we have a culture. As Somalis, we are ancient people. As Somalis, we have to find pride within us. No one else is out there for us. So and I'm very, very cognizant of what I'm saying. No one else is out there for us. We have to take ourselves and understand that to know thyself is where our source of strength is going to be. To know who we are is where we're going to better position ourselves and pour our foundation so that we can have a better and bigger and taller buildings. It comes from us. It's gonna know my soul. I'm not looking to anyone else. to do that, right? Big up Ultra, big up Ultra. Yo, how you doing, brother? Hope you're good, man. Merry Christmas to you too, man. Merry Christmas to you too. Hope you're well, bro. I hope you're well. So I'm just trying to have this conversation so that yo, Ultra, hop on if you have a minute to speak, man. I wanted to have I wanted to have this conversation because I've gotten so many freaking conversations where I was being told, yo, what up, Brady? What's up, Brady? How you doing, bro? What's up, broski? Hope you're well, man. Uh, so yeah, so I've been in so many conversations lately where I'm being told that we didn't really exist before Islam came. Somalis didn't exist. Somalis were nothing. Somalis don't even go that far back. Somalis are, products of, this latest century almost. And to me, that always it always strikes a chord with me because I feel like okay, so if I reduce myself to nothing but that, I will need some exterior, factors to help me out. I will need these things, right? And that is when the society is lost. That is when a civilization is lost. So, I wanted to. I've actually came across this cool, what do you call it, YouTube channel, um, and it actually speaks about Somali folklore, Somali myth, and all that good stuff. So I want to take a little break and just kind of go and watch this together, just to kind of remind us of some cool things. So let's see if we can watch this. This is Somali lore, myths, legends, and fantastical creatures.
Storytelling is a cornerstone of Somali culture. While there are many genres to Somali expression, like the gabe, epic poetry, the qasido, religious poems, hes, songs, today we are going to talk about folktales, also known as Sheko Hariruyin. Folktales are central to Somali people lives. They can be told around the encampment fire, whispered to children at bedtime, or shared in a group of friends. Folktales are astonishingly well preserved in oral history, and certain stories have been passed on from generation to generation and in all the different regions inhabited by Somalis. In this video, we are going to talk about the fantastical creatures, animals, and heroes that constitute Somali lore. And in that sense, we have to highlight and celebrate the work of Ahmed Artan Henge, who investigated Somali lore in the late 80s and collected them in his book, Sheko Hariruyin Somaliyat. Much like the Brothers Grimm, who were collectors of popular tales and popularized stories like Cinderella or Snow White, Ahmed Artan interviewed Somali elders and collected their account.
She takes a picture, and in that picture is this ET. He puts the camera.
Let's start with animal tales. Animals have a large place in Somali folktales. Stories about them illustrate Somali people's connection to nature and their environment, Miga, the plains and shrublands, which are the traditional environment of pastoral people. Animal tales are used by Somalis to teach children about values, morals, and wisdom. In animal tales, animals represent people, and each animal possesses a defining human trait. The owl, the fox, is a cunning trickster who often takes advantage of other animals. One such simple minded animal is Warabe, the hyena, who often gets taken advantage of and fooled by the fox. Warabe the hyena is often the villain of the tale, but her malice is overcome by the resourcefulness and intelligence of the other animals. In the wide open plains of Somalia, the hyena is indeed the enemy of the Somalis' main riches, their livestock, and children are taught at a young age how to trick and defeat her. Other notable animals in Somali folktales are Bisad Yajir, the cat and the mouse, Lah Yuri, the sheep and the goat, Marudi Yadabagale, the elephant and the squirrel, Yahas, the crocodile, Libah, the lion, and Din, the tortoise. A lot of Somali animal tales have similarities with Aesop's fables. like the boy who cried wolf, where a young shepherd repeatedly tricks people from his village into thinking a wolf is attacking their flock. In the tale Umar iyo Warabe, Umar and the hyena, Umar performs the same lies until nobody believes him and comes to his help when the hyena devours him. Some historians believe the famous Greek fabulist Aesop to be of Ethiopian origins, which could make sense since animal tales are widely shared on the African continent. Other fascinating heroes of Somali folktales are the fantastical creatures, like Degder the ogress and her daughter Butsi. Folktales describe Degder as a very tall woman with an incredible force that was so fast she could outrun horses. Markay qof eryanayso sida dabaysha bay u xiimi jirtay. She would sound like a fast wind when she was in pursuit of someone. Dhigaheeda mid baa sida eyga u dheereed. Sidaas ogeed baa loogu bixiyey naanaysta Degder. One of her ears was long like that of a dog, which earned her the nickname Degder. Degder was so cunning and deceiving that she would build the semblance of a town with several houses to trick passing travelers looking for water and a place to rest. They would stop in her pretend town where she would then capture and eat them. But in one of the tales, Degder is outsmarted by two children, Ferido and her younger brother. Ferido, whose name means the wise girl, is the elder of a family of four children. One day Ferido takes her brothers and sisters to collect berries, and when she tries to make her way back to her family's homestead, she finds out that her family has already left the grounds. Ferido then proceeds to find water and shelter for her little brothers and sisters, and ends up walking into Degder's pretend town. The children are captured by the ogress, but Ferido manages to escape with one of her younger brother, and they rebuild their lives together, far from Degder's territory. Frido and Degdare tale is very similar to that of Hansel and Gretel, who find themselves lost in a forest and walk into the evil witch's lair, made of gingerbread and pastries. For Somali children, a town in the desert with the promise of refreshing cover from the scorching sun would have the allure of the delicious pastries that enticed the German children, Hansel and Gretel. Somali folktales have been educating children on the dangers of the wide open plains and deserts, and how they should learn to rely on wisdom and resourcefulness to tame the hostile nature. It's a very common trope in fairy tales to represent nature's chaos and hostility to a very powerful, evil, feminine archetype like Degder, which is why when Degder is defeated, the children sing, Degder di Matoi Dulki Nabade. Degder is no more, the land is at peace. Nature's chaos and hostility is often contained and overcome by the ingenuity and wisdom of the old man's archetype, which we also find in Somali folktales. The Wadad, or Aday, often represents the sum of knowledge and wisdom passed on through the generations. Another very powerful female figure in Somali folktales is Queen Arawelo. While Degdar stories are believed to be entirely symbolical, there is not a complete consensus on whether or not Queen Arawelo ruled Somali territories. Some Somali places still bear names in reference to her, like a place named Jehi Arawelo, Arawelo's Valley, situated near the city of Alayo in Somaliland. Alayo is also believed to have been the place where Queen Arawelo would move her court in the winter seasons. In that town, there is a stone mound called Taloti Riyad, which is believed to be Arawelo's tomb. Whenever Somali men passed by that stone mount, they would throw several stones onto it with a curse upon Arawelo's name, while in contrast, Somali women would place green branches and fresh flowers as a sign of respect for the greatest woman ruler in Somali oral tradition. The story of Arawelo gives a very insightful look into the underlying tension that exists between men and women in Somali culture. While there is a clear division of tasks between men and women in the traditional Somali family, with men venturing outside the homestead to water camels and to partake in warfare, and women staying back to care for infants and household chores, in times of peace, the burden of running the household sometimes falls disproportionately on women, which leads the clever, fiery, and proud Arawelo to tell her husband, a woman could also do what a man does. Most of the men in the town council are old fools. Why not allow able women to take their places? Arabella then proceeds to foment an insurrection of the women to overthrow the power of men, and she turns them into eunuchs. There is a striking resemblance between the story of Arabella and her army of female warriors, and that of the nomadic Amazons, whose name is believed to have been derived from the Iranian Amajana, meaning virility killing, and whose lands were believed to be at the rim of the known world for the Greeks. Some historians also believe that Somali societies used to be matriarchal in early centuries before becoming patriarchal. While it is not yet possible to state with certainty that Arabella existed in history, her story has left a strong impression on Somali culture. Some of Arabella's maxims are still carried out by Somali women. Wahi adyeli dontan, di de markohare. Whatever you will accept in the end, you should refuse first. Hudud ragi sugeya, khalaf kisana kala dora. Unite the strand of men, but always feed them apart. There are many tales in Somali traditions which have similarities with foreign tales, like the cowardly fool, Riyal Shidad, who resembles Mullah Nasruddin, the wise fool in Middle Eastern tales, or Sul, the man that was as small as a thumb, which resembles the tale of Tumbling by the Brothers Grimm. Somali folktales also have some of the traditional monsters and changelings that we encounter in other cultures, like the werewolf, Qoris Miris, who changes into a hyena man by rubbing a wood stick on his body, or the giants, Habid Nakamas and Brir Nabarqa. Somali folktales are a rich tapestry in which is woven the wisdom of centuries past, and they should be preserved as part of our universal story.
Hope you guys enjoyed that as much as I did. Uh, and welcome, Yasmin. So essentially, the folklore, the tales, and they do a very good job. I actually linked the what do you call it, the YouTube here in the chats. So if you guys want, please go ahead and subscribe. It's an amazing. They do a lot of good production. It's beautiful, and I think this is a revival of Somali Dhaqan. So essentially, what we were discussing earlier was that there was a cross pollination of cultures along, along time and space, right? Because she talked about the boy who cried wolf, how could the hyena man, you know what I mean, which is maybe like the werewolf. So whereas different cultures have turned their folklore into movies and written books, we've kept it like in gebes and just kind of spoken word. So I think it's time that we kind of wake up and start publishing more and more books, and even hopefully one day have Queen Aruello as a I don't know a Marvel character, dare I say? But you know what I mean? Like, why not? At the end of the day, we have so many rich history, and like the lady was saying, we should keep it. It's a rich tapestry that we should keep into our commonwealth as the world, right? Like it has to be something that's preserved. It's got to be something that we are proud of. And if we are not the ones that do it, as Somalis, if we're not the ones that do it, then who would do it? Who would do it, right? Yes, Mark Smith, Hyena Man, which I'm thinking is kind of like the werewolf. Thanks, Jasmine. Yeah, it is super interesting. Please go ahead and see their YouTube, and it's going to be super nice. They're talking about folklore and different things about Somalis. This is very cool, very nice. The one to divert said, "Then my Somali folklore knowledge is on point. I recognize almost every single tale they cited in the video." Well, good on you, man. Good on you, man. And that's how rich our culture is. That throughout the millennia, it doesn't just go away, man. It doesn't go away because Ayeyo probably told you that story, or Hoya probably told you that story, or Abba told you some of these folks. So I mean, come on. Like we got to think about how rich and beautiful our culture is. We got to think about how much more, how much contributions it can go, if it can give humanity if we were to take it seriously our damn selves. That's what I'm really vouching for here. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. So, Malinimodu, wah. weligeed meel tegaysa maaha, waa wax nala joogi doonta, dhiiggeed ruuxayna igaga jirtaa, dadkeena iyo dalkeena wana soo maaha, waa inaan usoo jeesino. We gotta wake up, my brothers and sisters. We gotta wake up. And so all I'm saying is believe whatever the hell you want to believe. I could care less about beliefs. What I care about is our our Dhaqan and our future. And in order to do that, we have to open our minds and our eyes and actually realize that the treasures that we're seeking are right beneath our feet as Somalis. And if we don't give that compassion and love to our own people, if we don't give that if you don't retake that pride in our own culture, then who the hell will? Next generation, we might as well be all gone. So I don't think that Somali Nimo has survived throughout the millennia because we come from cowards that give up on who they are. We don't. We come from actual people that are rich not only in history but in wisdom. We're people of this earth, and I want you guys to regain your rightful position. I really want us to regain our rightful position because it's so telling. And if we know thyself, if we know who we are, we're gonna progress, and we're gonna go places in this world. Right now, the Somali stock is really low. I'm asking you to buy into it because it's gonna shoot up. It's gonna shoot up like a Google stock. I'm telling you right now. So what I would say, Hawaii had hadalka nagu badan maayo, laakiin su-aashan aan isweydiiyo waxay ahayd dhaqan maan u lahayn, wanaag. Dhaqan maan u lahayn haddaan Soomaali nahay, wax wanaag la yidhaahdo, waxa ikhtiyaarka waxa la yidhaahdo, maxaa kale ixtiraamka la yidhaahdo, waxaan aan u aqaano aragti Soomaha waalid adeeca aan u naqaano, waxaan aan u naqaano hooyo iyo aabbo, waxaan walaalo aan u naqaano, waxaan maanu lahayn, mise waa waxaan nala baray. Anigu waxaan taaganahay dhaqankeena Soomaaliyeed weligii ya weligii iyo waaqiiba waa jiray, weligii waaqina wuu jiri doonaa. It's just a matter of getting together and actually saying it with our chest. That's all. Hawaii says peace across nice. Chad, I agree. Thank you so much, Hawaii. What so do so do. So Madrid, thank you so very much. So I mean, at the end of the day, right? Okay, so my brother Nugani Yo said Somali Nimo are the best educated and the best business people. Hopefully, more Somali Nimo will regain a love of their heritage before Islam. That is my wish, my bro. That is my wish. Because the thing is, at the end of the day, believe whatever it is that you want to believe. But what you believe should not ever, ever denigrate where you're from and your origins and your bloodline and what nation you are. It should not denigrate that. It should not call that the age of Jahiliyyah. It should not call that the age of ignorance. Because I'm sorry, but I don't come from ignorant people. I come from people that knew how to live their land, that were able to transact with other civilizations, that were able to actually raise great economies and actually raise great people in the Horn of Africa. We have a beautiful culture. I love learning about different cultures because I love mine so much. I love learning about, like, there's so many different interesting cultures in the world, right? I love learning about those cultures because I am cemented. My foundation is Somali Nimo. I know Hakan Kasuji Garanaya. I know what we're capable of. I like these things. I know as much as I am like sure that I'm what I'm seeing. I am sure of that. I just feel like my people have been in a slumber for a while, and I want them into Subararugan Bandunaya. Dadkaygu intay marka isqabsada oo dib u soo kaca oo dib u noqdo waxaad ahaydeen ogsoonaad waxaad tahayna ahaw markastana soman yahay. Marka anigu waxaan odhan lahaa asxaabtay, waxaan odhan lahaa waa saacadii bay gaadhay, saacadii lasoo kacayay gaadhay, waana soo kacdin, waana soo baraarugtiin. I'm not even saying these things just so you know what I mean. I could care less what you believe, but understand that what you believe should never get in the way of your evolution as a human being. Ironically, I like to think our people are more so in the age of ignorance now. that's that's a very true. That's very true. Don't want to divert. That is a very true comment. I like that one. I like that one. I'm gonna use that. The one to divert. I'm gonna say, well, many guys, the age of Jahiliyyah wasn't back then. It's now. We are living the age of Jahiliyyah. God damn it, that is so true, man. Oh man, it's we have a beautiful culture. We have beautiful people. We have beautiful hearts, man. At the end of the day, and the only thing that I think that is needs to change and then needs to kind of evolve is to see ourselves for who we truly are, and not what we're trying to pretend to be. Not, you know what I mean? Not. I can't. As long as there's a Somali person that believes that a Somali person cannot live on their land if they don't believe the same as them. As long as there's one person that believes that, we're not reaching where we need to reach. We're not. We're living like the one who Divert said. We're living in the age of ignorance right now. Is when we're living the age of ignorance. It wasn't back then. Because back then we were solidified and cemented into our foundation. We know who we were. Wanaag oo dhan maanta la arkayo wax nala baray maahine waa waxaanu lahayn dhiiggii nagaga jirtaa soma to actually have a good father, a good mother, good children, good families, good societies, good culture, good that actually has a place for, what I mean, art, that actually has a place for politics, that has a place for law, that has a place for spirituality. All of these things were encompassed into our Dhaqan. Dhaqan banu lahayn, Dhaqan banu leenahay, Dhaqan kena yanan ilobi. Dhaqan kena yanan ilobi. Let's please not forget that if we forget who we are, so will the next generation and the generation after that. And that's how great civilizations have disappeared from this the face of the earth. So I'm really hoping that my brothers and sisters, you hear me. I hope that you can actually engage these conversations. You don't have to agree with me as long as you're making space for a conversation. I think that's where my aim is essentially. Mark Smith says Somalia has the best beaches, but the land is kind of flat and barren from what I have seen. Yeah, be that as it may, but there's places in Somalia that are plush as well, my bro. There's places in Somalia that have rivers flowing through it as well, my bro. There's places in Somalia where you'll see so many different life forms, vegetations and mammals and any kinds of animals. So we do have a whole lot to offer, a lot to offer. We've been uh, we've been in business transactions with so many different civilizations, and because we have the longest coast of Africa, we had so many different influences come in as well. But we've always safeguarded our own. We've always safeguarded our own. That's one continuous trend about Somali people is that we've always safeguarded our own culture, our own Africa Yagi. We're Cushitic people from East Africa. That's what we're always going to be, regardless. So essentially, what I'm trying to say is we did not need anyone else to teach us about good manners because we already had them. We did not need anyone to tell us how to respect our elders or respect our parents because we were already doing it. We did not need anyone to tell us how to raise our kids because we were already doing it. We did not need anyone to teach us about spirituality because we were already doing it. We were doing all of these things. We didn't need anybody to teach us about art because we were already artistic. All I'm saying is, as long as you are not accepting of who you are, no one will accept you. And essentially, that's how you die off. That's how you die off, right? And at the end of the day, the only person that's going to be hurt by that is you. So anigu waxaan leeyahay dad Soomaali nahay, dhaqan wanaagsan waanu lahayn, and we didn't need anyone else to teach us that. Please and please and please, I want you to find that within yourself. I want the young Somali folks listening to actually put their efforts in learning about the culture. Afka isku daya intaad ku hadashiin aad akhridiin. Take interest in it because honestly, This is the age of information. There's a wealth of information out there. More and more, I want to have these conversations that is going to tell us, right? That's going to inform us of who we are. Let's learn Somali Nimo together. I think is where I'm going to. I'm tired of, you know what I mean? Like people can believe whatever the hell they want to believe. I am a revert. I've reverted to Somali Nimo. And that's what I'm gonna say. I think I'm gonna close it out on that today. I just had this question, this burning question that I wanted to kind of record in the ether to a certain extent, and I wanted to be basically say this to my Somali brothers and sisters, elders and youngsters as well. Please, sharaftini bin Soomaali baad tihiin, dad jiraad tihiin, dhiig iyo dhuux baad leedihiin, meel baad ka soo jeedtiin, waxaad tihiin isbarta, dib isku barta, dib isugu noqda. Waxaad doontiin aaminsanaada laakiin Soomaalinimadu waa mid. Soomaalinimaduna waa xakaan doonayno intaanu ku noqonno, intaanu dib u soo celinno, intay dib inta lagu soo noqdo qofku markuu is ogaado isagu ayuu meel gaaraa, wuu darajo gaaraa, wuu sharaf yeeshaa. So all I'm going to conclude this is what I always say at the end of every stream is, Somal Nimo until we demo, but also please learn who you are, learn how you've contributed to humanity as you contribute even more. So on that note, I'm gonna say Dhaqan wanaagsan waanu lahayn, dhaqan wacan waanu lahayn, dhaqankeeni noo soo celiya. De xaggaas ayaan nagu salaamaya maxaan ku idhahdaa asxaabe. In well, Somali Nimo till we demo. Until next stream, I bid you farewell. And please, I'm probably not gonna see you before 2022. So happy New Year on that as well. I'm not sure what's going on where you're at, but COVID restrictions are kind of making things hard here in Canada. So, but nevertheless, go ahead and celebrate as much as you can and enjoy your life and learn. That's the way to do it. Learn, please. All right, boys and girls. Somali Nimo till we demo. Peace out.